Hello, and welcome to the Collegian Sports Show. I'm your host, Zach Neiner, and I'm alongside
Robert Davidson.
Katie McKenna.
Rob the Ref Greissinger.
So you might be asking, what is this Collegian Sports Show? It's basically sports reporters at the Daily Collegian talking about Penn State athletics. So let's begin. Weekend takeaways. What did you guys take away from this weekend?
Well, I didn't take away much from the Penn State football game. They, despite the three-headed rushing attack, didn't prove much. Hackenberg looked bad, out of sync with Robinson, so not much to take away there.
Katie?
I was really looking forward to the Big Ten opener for the women's soccer team, but they came out really flat in the beginning, and they ended up getting lucky with that 3-2 victory over Northwestern, but that's really nothing much you can take away there.
And Ref?
The men's soccer team, on the other hand, they won 1-0 against Duquesne. Goalkeeper Andrew Overton, was the big takeaway from that. He made some brilliant saves. They won the game 1-0, but they still need to find that goal scorer. They've been doing great defensively, but where is the goal scoring going to come from?
Now I'm going to take away women's golf. They finished 13th out of 17th in the Mercedes-Benz tournament. Last year they finished second. This year they finished 33 over par. Not a great weekend for women's golf, a weekend to forget really. But one thing that a lot of people are taking away is this fencing story. Emmanuel Kaidenhoff was fired after 30 years. This is going to be his 31st year. What do you guys take away from that?
Well, considering the circumstances, for those who don't know, one of the players was misunderstood to have illegal substances on them. It turned out not to be the case. The athlete took a drug test, cleared everything out, and from what I understand, a secretary reported it to an assistant coach reported it to the athletic department and jumped over Coach K, as he was known around these parts. But really, the takeaway from all this is that he was really a great coach, brought the program to national prominence, and then all of a sudden, bang, he's out because of a small incident like this where really no wrongdoing was. It was all a misunderstanding.
Was this an overreaction by Penn State?
I think it very well could have been. In the wake of the Sandusky situation, you're trying to, I don't want to use the word minimize damage, but that's basically what happened here. Kaidenhoff won 12 national championships, most of any sport on campus, and it turned out to be a whole lot of nothing. But there's a lot of fallout from that.
Now, what do you guys take away from the fencing going into the Board of Trustees meeting and talking?
There was a whole lot that was really odd about this whole situation. They did a press conference with the girl who was accused of the illegal substances at the Ramada Inn, which is very unlike all Penn State athletics. There was no SID present. It wasn't really announced to the media very well. You kind of heard by word of mouth that they were doing this press conference. And for the fact that Penn State, the athletic department, would even let these people speak, and just speak freely on the situation, especially after the coach had already been released, it's really odd for the whole thing. That makes you think that there could be more to this story that we haven't heard yet and stuff that hasn't come out yet.
Now, guys, one word response, yes or no. Is this justified?
No.
Katie?
No.
No.
So now we're going to go into a new segment called Believe It or Not. Each panelist will be read a statement, and they'll be asked, believe it or not? So, Rob, I start with you. Ariel Scott will return to her old form after this weekend. Believe it or not?
Believe it. She had a big weekend, led the team 13 kills, hitting percentage. Scott's a player, unlike a lot of volleyball players, hitters especially. In the past, last year especially, didn't need to get her going. She was someone you could turn to for a big kill whenever you needed it. Doesn't need a few to build up. She led the team in kills and hitting percentage last year as well, and I fully expect her to rebound. So Katie, moving on for women's soccer, the double overtime win over Northwestern. Bigger loss than a win for the Lions, believe it or not.
You have to believe it. A 3-2 overtime victory over an unranked Northwestern, where this was, I think, going into it, one of the top 25 ranked teams. You can't take away much from that, and it's definitely a bigger loss. I mean, you could take away the 3 goals scored. Granted, 2 came from defender Whitney Church, which, you had Maya Hayes get into the scoring mix there, but of course you have to expect that. But from the Whitney Church, when you have those other big girls like Taylor Schramm, Mallory Weber, Tanny Cost up in the front, this was horrible for women's soccer, really. But moving on to the cross-country team. Women's cross-country team will finish in the season in the top 8, believe it or not.
Believe it. Last year they finished number 9. I think they're better this year. Right now they're currently ranked number 11, but they had 8 girls go under 22 minutes in a 6K with Emily Giannotti leading the way. They also have Stephanie Aldrich stepping up and sophomore Tori Gerlach. I believe in this team. I think they'll finish top 8. So, Ref, going to you. Men's soccer. Mark Wadad will score at least 3 game winners in the final 9 games of the season. Believe it or not.
really on the fence with this one. I mean, like I said, they lack that goal scorer. I'm going to believe it just for the optimism that he'll gain confidence from scoring another game winner on Sunday. So that's a huge key for me. I think he'll gain confidence from that and go from there.
So now we're going to introduce this hat. This hat represents the Fast Five. Each panel should be asked a question from the hat. And if you want your question asked, you can tweet us at @TDC_sports. And then just put #sportshow. So Rob, I start with you. We pull out this question. Over, under, 0.5 reporters will find out why Allen Robinson missed the first half against Syracuse.
Two-part answer. Over for the number of reporters that find out, under for the number of reporters that actually report it. A lot of people are in the mix, but there's a lot of unknowns in that situation. I expect reporters to find out, but you're not going to break a source's trust for something as small as that, for a half of football against Syracuse. So I go over and under. So Neiner, Delaware and Penn State reinstated their field hockey rivalry this weekend after 22 years. What's one rivalry that you would like to see reinstated in Penn State sports?
I'm going to go with the obvious, Pittsburgh, Penn State football. These two teams have met 96 times. Penn State has basically killed Pitt in this rivalry, but they are renewing in 2016, but I'm looking forward to that. But this rivalry should never have gone away. Two big rivals. Don't like it. Going away, that is. Now, Katie, would you rather give up wings over like defensive tackle Daquan Jones or attend every football game in a monsoon like Penn State?
You have to give up wings over in this case. I can't handle that rain, the hair getting wet, wet clothes, all that. But considering the fact that it was raining, the student section looked relatively crowded, for a game like that. But in terms of wings over, I don't know how those football players, can eat that every day. Granted, the amount of weight they lift, but I guess you can go with that. But you have to give up wings over. That's easy. Work on the figure. So, Ref, senior cross-country runner Emily Giannotti told GoPSU Sports that she loves Ryan Gosling, calling him a fox. So what does the fox say?
Hotty, 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 ho.
What?
So last question for the Fast Five after that. If Penn State Athletics was a fantasy league, who would be your first round selection and why? Rob, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go women's volleyball here. Micah Hancock. I think she's a pretty clear choice. She does it all. The digs, kills. She led the Big Ten service aces last year, third in the nation, I believe. The difference between her and the rest, anyone else on the team as far as importance, both on the court and off as a leader, I think is just too big to pass her up.
Katie?
This is kind of a toss-up for me again, but Maya Hayes definitely has to be your next choice. She's scored 10 goals in 9 games with 3 assists and 23 points. She's number 5 in the nation with 2.56 goals per game. 10 goals in 9 games, and especially on a team like Penn State, in order to have that dominance in the field, being able to score 10 goals when you're surrounded by Tani Costa, Taylor Schramm, Mallory Weber, Maya Hayes is clearly an easy favorite, especially in the nation as well.
Ref, what about you?
I'm going with a little sleeper pick here. Men's hockey. He didn't get a lot of playing time last year because he was dealing with groin issues. I'm going with Jonathan Milley, big power forward from Quebec. Just a guy who's going to be hard to take off the puck, and he gets in front of the net and scores goals. And we saw a little bit briefly last year, but he just was battling injuries all year. He's going to be a very common name nowadays, not just because he's one letter short of Miley Cyrus's first name.
I think most of you guys are going with Michael Jordan's, but I'm going to change it up. I'm going with Bo Jackson. I'm going with Robbie Crease. He's a junior cross-country and track runner. That's just 3 sports that he can score in. 148, 800, 357 miler. And he was the top runner at Big Tens in cross-country last year. So Robbie Crease, Bo Jackson, my pick. But now we're going to a topic called what to watch for. So basically says what it is. What do you guys watch for this week?
What I'm watching for this weekend, Penn State women's volleyball opening up Big Ten play, taking on number 10 Michigan, number 15 Michigan State. I'm going bold prediction. I say Penn State sweeps the weekend, winning both matches 3-0.
This is kind of a what to watch for a little while down the road, but it's also golfer Kevin Foley earned his PGA Tour card. He graduated in 2009. Kevin Foley is just going to pick it up on the PGA Tour. We'll see him at some of the events around. And I just think it's pretty big for a golfer from the Northeast to be able to make it that far.
What about you, Ref?
Well, I've got 2 of them. One is the Pagula Ice Arena Tour that we are going to be going on, the media anyway. I'm going to be going there, going to have a GoPro on my head. We're going to be able to see that, and there's going to be a lot of special stuff in the Collegian about that arena, so stick around for that. But second is women's soccer gets a chance to rebound. What you were talking about, Katie, they do it on Thursday against Purdue. They need a rebound right there. Perfect opportunity to do it. I'm
going to go with women's volleyball, like Rob, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. I want to watch for Ayanna Whitney, how she plays in Big Ten Conference. Her freshman year, she played great, had an incredible amount of kills in the NCAA tournament. But then last year she redshirted, which Rush Rose never disclosed why. But I'm curious see how she does. She hasn't been doing too great now. She had a good game against Albany, but we'll see. So now, we love our ref. He's very opinionated, and we want to give him a rant to express his opinions. So this is the time of our show called Ref's Rant. Ref, take it away.
Well, thanks, Neiner. You're probably wondering, why am I called the ref? Well, it's an inside joke here at the Collegian. I am a part-time referee, and that's how it goes. You can tell by my build, I'm not athletic, so that's the story. So the rant, I'll get forward on this pretty simple, and it's a sensitive topic, I do warn, but something has been bugging me lately, and it was brought on again and reiterated by the reintroduction of Sweet Caroline. Now, I'm not a big fan of Sweet Caroline to begin with, and for obvious reasons, but I'm not going to get into that. This rant's not about Sweet Caroline. It's about another song that you hear during Penn State athletic events, and it comes from the Blue Band. It's the Gary Glitter song, the Hey song, Rock and Roll Part 2. That was changed, understandably, in November 2011 after the Sandusky stuff hit the fan. Well, my main problem with it is that we never got rid of it. Why are we still playing this song that was written or performed and made famous by a guy who was a convicted sex offender? I don't get it. Why are we still using this? The song, people like the old version better. And to quell the people who were emailing Richard Bundy about change it, get rid of it, or whatever they were saying to him, why he changed it, not got rid of it, is something that I will never understand, and quite frankly, I just don't have any respect for that, because one, you collapse under pressure, number two, you made a wrong decision right there. Why do you change it to make it sound a lot worse than it actually is, and when you still are playing a song that was written by a child molester? I don't get it. It needs to either be changed back to the original or gotten rid of completely, and I really think it should be gotten rid of completely. I really do.
Thank you, Ref. We know your frustration.
No, you don't.
So this has been the first ever Collegian Sports Show. Please stay tuned because we're a little rough. We'll get better, I promise you. But if you'd like to contribute to the conversation, please tweet us at @TDC_sports. That is @TDC_sports. So I'm your host, Zach Neiner, and this is
Robert Davidson.
Katie McKenna.
Rob the Ref Greissinger.
And this has been the Collegian Sports Show. See you next week and have a super fantastic week.